Hi everyone. In this video I'll be talking about the topic of communication and specifically mindful communication. If we think about the role of communication in our life, we can see how important and vital it is. It enables us to have connections with other people, to share ideas, to cooperate or work together to solve problems. We express our personal needs and desires. So with communication, we have a part of life that's really vital and essential. And when our communication is clear, when it's effective, it can really enhance our lives. However, when our communication is in some way clouded or convoluted, when it's not really working effectively, then it could create conflict. It creates many different disturbances in our lives. So if we work on mindful communication, we're able to be more conscious, more aware of how we're actually communicating and connecting with other people. This topic was recently brought into my focus by a book I was reading, and the book is called Say What You Mean. Here's the book I'm talking about. This book is by Loren J. Sofer, who has a background with Buddhist meditation practices, as well as nonviolent communication and somatic experiencing, a form of therapy that focuses on releasing or resolving trauma that's stuck in our physical body and our energy field. In this book, he looks at this issue of communication and focuses kind of on a three-step process to how we can develop more mindful communication. And the first step is really about just being present. So being in that mindful type of state where you're calm, you're able to just be aware, just observe the present moment. Beyond that, the second step helps people focus on cultivating kind of the sense of empathy, of curiosity, of having compassion for others, and wishing to understand rather than impose. And the third step he discusses is to focus on what matters. So to really be more clear in our communication, to not get sidetracked, to address problems in a way that's looking for solutions rather than in some way trying to demean a person or attack a person. Those are some examples. And if we look at our own communication, we could probably find many different ways in which we could improve in all of these aspects. A lot of the time we're not really present. Our mind is caught up about things that occurred in the past, or worried about things in the future. We're thinking ahead to what we want to share or tell someone rather than clearly listening to what they're saying. We often are so focused on our own needs or desires that we're not paying attention to the other person's needs or desires. So if we could slow down a bit, if we could be more present, we could find more of a healthy balance where we can be ready to express what we need to communicate, as well as be willing to listen, to seek to understand the other person, to relate more to where they may be coming from, to their feelings, their thoughts, their values or beliefs, to their point of view. This is something that we often neglect. And we also have many different patterns or habits in our communication. that we may have learned when we were younger as part of the culture and social environment we were in that are in actuality not really conducive to having a healthy dialogue, to communicating effectively. Often we communicate in ways that distort or exaggerate things, that don't use really clear language to express our ideas or to even describe a simple reality that we've observed or experienced. So being careful with the language that we're using, with the words, the terminology that we're applying to express things can truly make a difference. We can also inquire with another person, asking them to more clearly or more precisely present what they wish to share if we're not fully understanding them or if we're not really sure what they're telling us. Sometimes we're afraid to do that. We just start to make assumptions, we make inferences, we jump to conclusions, and we often do that prematurely or without having gotten a clear description of things. So helping our minds slow down and be more patient with this process, that's one important way we can help improve our communication. When your mind is racing and rushing, you tend to make more mistakes, whether it's with communication or anything else you're doing. You'll notice that when you're in that rush mode, you tend to have more accidents. And this can be the same thing with verbal communication or verbal activity. When we're rushing our speech or we're rushing through a conversation and not really listening, then more errors can occur. We might say something that we didn't really mean to, or we might not hear something that we need to. So slowing down, being more present, more calm, more of an observer of yourself and your surroundings, being that patient listener can really make a difference. I hope that this introduction to this idea of mindful communication has given you some inspiration to work on improving your communication, to expressing yourself more clearly, more precisely, being more mindful, more present, more understanding and empathetic toward others, and more focused on creating practical solutions or collaborations, supporting cooperation essentially, rather than competition or creating conflicts or insults toward other people. In a sense, we're all in this thing called life together. We're here to learn to coexist, to co-create, and to communicate as part of that process. For now, I would like to thank each of you for taking your time to view this video. I invite you to watch some of my other YouTube videos and also to visit my website, www.phinsights.com. That's PHINSIGHTS.com. There you can find some additional resources for holistic health, spirituality, and wellness. And you can also find out more about the services that I provide. For now, I want to wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.